Kia ora. I was born in Malaysia and grew up in Aotearoa, but I've made my home in Jajawarong country, where I raise my son as best I can. I am blindish. I perceive the world through approximations, through fractal hallucinations, through spidery webs, through luminous halos. I've adopted the word blindish from a list of terms suggested by blind friends and mentors to supersede the term visually impaired. As my visual perception veers further and further from the norm, I've become intrigued by the tendency in general society, and the art world in particular, to assume 20/20 vision. I notice the ways that this habit limits or encloses our ways of understanding the world, how we relate to one another, how we move about, and the questions that we ask through artistic and curatorial practice. Even people who cling to the myth of perfect 20/20 vision have absences in their visual field, where the optic nerve exits the eye. But most people don't pay attention to these absences. Most people don't think about how their brain conjures imagery to fill the void. I believe that the further I move into blindness, the more I am sensitized to absences. I've become convinced in the radical potential of blindness to disclose instability and uncertainty, to bring attention to what is concealed, to what is ephemeral, to what is invisible. I argue that blindness offers a critical way of thinking and methods of dealing with our precarious time. In my art making, I've been working with blundering, with stumbling blindly, as a way of navigating unfamiliar territory. I've been developing methods of handling and holding. I've drawn on echolocation training to create scores for listening to the quietest sound. I'm acclimatizing to using a cane through performance. A cane changes the possibilities of how a body can move. With a cane in hand, I can draw geometric choreographies that extend beyond the reach of my body. I've just started working on a project with Lucrecia Quintanilla, spurred by her childhood memory of listening to her grandfather playing his cane like a flute. She's going to make a mobility cane for me to play, and Brian Phillips is guiding us in sculptural musicality. I seldom think of audiences as spectators. I more often think about how I can activate audiences to sense artworks in different ways, like my work with Trent Walter, experimenting with hallucination and tactility as ways of reading print works. Mia Mingus describes access intimacy as the feeling you get when someone else understands your access needs, when you don't have to explain. I feel access intimacy when my friends invite me to take the seat that doesn't face a bright light, or when they quietly whisper about the uneven surface in my path. I seldom feel access intimacy in the art world. For art spaces to be more inclusive and accessible, it's important not to expect a few baseline access provisions to meet the needs of everyone. If you want to be more inclusive, ask those who have been missing from your space why they feel unwelcome. Take accountability for how your habits include or exclude artists and audiences. And here in Victoria, where the eugenics movement flourished, it's especially vital to expose the ways that framing disability as subnormal or subhuman is intertwined with the perpetration of violence against Indigenous communities, Black, poor and queer communities. As an art community, we can do so much more to reorganise structures and to invest labour in learning other ways of languaging that will welcome more bodies into our conversations.
That's cool.